Welcome back to another video, everyone. For this week's photo manipulation art, I decided I want to go into more outer space, surreal type of work. And I actually named this one Dream Cabin. Doesn't make sense, doesn't need to, but I've seen this work before on Instagram where it's like a cabin or just some kind of house on a rock floating in outer space, and I decided to give my best shot at it. So I started out by laying out the background work by blending two stock images of stars together, and that's when I used the pen tool to cut out the cabin out of its background. The pen tool, while it is precise and accurate, it's also very tedious depending on what you're cutting out. So this part always takes the longest, but it is worth it at the end. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you like what you see, and you can always follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Rapturous Graphics. So now that I have the cabin all by itself, it's time to add the rocks that go beneath it to make it look like it was torn out of the earth. So for this one, I figured I was going to use a couple images of like rocks and terrains, and honestly, whenever I look at a picture, I don't know if it's always gonna work or not. It's, you gotta take the risk. And so I used this second image to kind of fill in the left side of the rock. I don't know. Almost immediately I was thinking, oh, it's not working out. The quality is different, and it was just a pain to blend it in together. I'm using adjustment layers like color balance and exposure, even hue and saturation, but nothing really seems to get it to where I need it to be. Ultimately, I had to take the L on that one and then substitute it for another better quality picture of like a cliff or something. And this one seemed to work way better, but I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to blend it in. I used the exposure to bring down the lighting, and then the color balance to match the color of the first rock that I used. But at some point I was thinking, oh, you know what, just scrap the whole thing. This isn't gonna work out. At the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, trust the process. So now that I have the main subject assembled, I tried my best to make it as uniform as it can be by adjusting the lighting and the color for the whole piece. And once I felt satisfied, it was time to add the sun. I'm not gonna lie, I did mean to make it look like the sun was a little further away, but the way things ended up, it just looked like it was on the backyard of this cabin. Now recognizing that I have a light source, I had to readjust the lighting, so I made everything a little bit more on the orange side of things to reflect the light of the sun. So it's time to add some sun flares by using some overlays that I have. And it was handy with these because their background is black, and whenever you have that, the best blending option to use is screen. And then it was just a matter of using the hue and saturation layer to match the color to the sun. Honestly, I don't know what this stock image was. It just looked really cool, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, so I was playing around with blending options and whatever else I was doing there. I don't know. But it just wasn't hitting for me the way I wanted to, so I took it off in the meantime. But I did go ahead and start with shadows. Honestly, the shadows and darkness are your lifesaver. Whenever you can't make something blend the way you want it to, give it some shadows and hide that sucker in the darkness, because who else is going to be able to see it? So at the time that I was making this, I had the idea of making like a light source shine out from inside the cabin. And I had this stock image of like a light beam, but I've never done that before, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But ultimately I figured it wasn't working out, so I tossed it out. And whenever I'm doing highlights on anything, my favorite thing to do is using the hue and saturation layer and then clipping it to the subject, and then giving it a black mask and then revealing it with the soft brush tool. That's my favorite way of making highlights. You may have your own. A potato. And then for no reason at all, I decided let's give this cabin like a chimney or something, but I didn't know how to add the entire chimney to it, so I said let's just add the tip. Let's just add the tip to it. So it was just back again with using levels to bring down the lighting, and then color balance to kind of match the tone with the rest of the cabin. And then I used the polygonal tool, polygonal tool, can't talk, and to make some shadows right underneath it. So here's another thing that I do is like I'll test out to see if there are other images that I can use that will spice up the art piece. But like here I used 2 images of like nebulas or whatever they're called, and I was just trying to figure out a way to make them look nice and spectacular, and I think I did manage it, but by the time that I did, it didn't sit well with the rest of the image. So I scrapped that, and you learn and you move on. But I did revert back to the original purple image. Don't know what it is. And I placed it back in that corner because it looked like that corner was empty and it needed just some kind of flair. And again, I'm just messing around with it, blending it, seeing what will work. But ultimately, it looks like the entire original image works best. And then I added another overlay just to give it like that weird, cool effect, like something is coming out of the middle of that picture. And then since that is also another light source, it's time to add the hue and saturation layer again and add purple highlights to the base of that rock. And then I like to add like this spray paint kind of look to it, and then use blending options to either heighten the color or brighten it up or whatever it is. I'm not really an artist. I just like doing Photoshop. But yeah, I changed the purple to blue because I like that it goes well with orange. So basic, and that's okay. And before I even finish it with the camera raw filter, I noticed that there was the front part of that little patchwork in the front of the cabin wasn't as orange as I wanted it to be. So it was just a matter of painting over it and then blending it to get like a nice orangey look to it. But anyways, everyone, that's going to be the video for today. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Rapturous Graphics for more content. Subscribe and hit that notification bell and give this a like. It would help the channel a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed Dream Cabin.